Hello everyone, my name is Christopher Liam Rose. I'm an author, mentor, life coach, motivational speaker, evangelist, activist, and musician. In this audio, I'm going to be sharing 5 ways of overcoming setbacks. I find this to be a very important topic to talk about, and obviously, in life that we live, we're all gonna have setbacks that we experience, things that don't turn out the way we think it's going to turn out. So, in this audio, I'm going to just share 5 ways of overcoming setbacks. So, number one, understanding your setbacks. In life, we do go through setbacks, broken up relationships, divorces, lost jobs, lost opportunities, business failures, success failures, challenges, mental health problems, mental health crisis, emotional difficulties, family issues, family problems. The list can go on with the setbacks that we face in life. So it's important to understand your setbacks, understand, what are the things that are holding you back from living your full potential. This could be a number of different things, but we must understand our setbacks in order to get to the next stage. Number two, change your perspective. Just because you may have faced failure or a setback in life doesn't mean that it can't be changed. So it's very important you change your perspective. And obviously in life, um, life has its ups and downs and its challenges, but changing your perspective and looking at things differently may help to overcome the setbacks. For example, in my own experience of what I was going through when I was younger, about 24, I experienced homelessness within, just losing my home and all my possessions in the fire. But what changed my perspective was that I can overcome this difficulty if I find employment and find work. So just changing that whole perspective of what I experienced, the setback that I had made me into doing the work of helping other people, giving back, making a difference. So that's what I mean by changing your perspective. Sometimes in life, we go through very serious setbacks and very serious challenges, but changing your perspective will change the situation completely because when you have a more positive, optimistic outlook of what you've experienced and the setback you've gone through or the failure you've gone through, then that can help you to look into the future and who you're going to become. So it's important that we change our perspectives in the things that we've experienced and gone through as human beings. Number three, breaking down the problem. Now, with each setback and with each problem and failure, you need to break it down. So, for example, what is the problem you're facing? Is it financial? Is it relationship? Is it family? Is it money? Is it career? Is it business? Is it volunteering? Is it friends? Is it children? Is it spouse, husband, wife, or boyfriend, girlfriend? So break down the problem. Find out the problem that you're facing and break it down. See, okay, this is the problem that I'm facing. Um, these are the things that are setting me back. And when you have a more optimistic view of the problems you face, this can help you even more. In my own experience of going through homelessness and mental health crisis, I had to break down the problem that I was going through. For example, when I was homeless and mentally psychotic, I had to think, what can I do to better the situation? Like I said before, the first thing I did was look for employment, look for opportunities. And then I broke down the problem again. What else do I need to do to help me better my situation? I may need some support. I may need some guidance. I may need some encouragement. I may need some help. And then breaking down the problem again, How can I overcome this? What can I do? And taking those necessary steps. So number four, create an action plan. Once you've broken down the problem and the things that are setting you back in life, and this will happen for all human beings, we'll all have setbacks, failures, life problems, life challenges, suffering, pain, adversity, and difficulties within our lives. But creating an action plan once you've broken down the problem is very important. So for each um, point that you've made when you broke down the problem. For example, it could be financial, it could be relationship, it could be um, emotional, mental, physical, spiritual, psychological. It could be family, friends, work, career, business, opportunities. So the list can go on with what the problems could be. Once you've broken it down for each point that you've made, make an action plan of how you're going to overcome that difficulty and that setback. So for me, for example, something that I did to overcome the homelessness and mental health crisis was actually look for work. That was the one thing I could do at the time. So I started to look for work and opportunities, applying to jobs, doing my CV, I'm doing my cover letters and looking for work and opportunities. And then also, I realized in the action plan that I made, I also need to find a way to get support and help, which will be the next step that we go into. Because because I was young, I was vulnerable, and I was mentally psychotic and homeless. I need someone to support me to get me out of that situation. So the action plan that I made was to look for work, look for employment, get someone to support me with my mental health and my difficulties that I'm facing, then get the council to help me find a home to live in. So those are some of the things that I could do while I was homeless, mentally psychotic, which helped to overcome that setback and that difficulty. And then number five, seek for professional help and support. Sometimes in life, we don't have the answers to what we're going through and the experiences that we're facing. Sometimes in life, it's important that we seek for professional help and support in whatever we're going through. This could be a mentor, this could be a life coach, this could be a professional, this could be someone that you trust, your parents, your brother, your sister, maybe your uncles and aunties, someone that's very close to you, a close friend or a close relative that you can actually help you and support you. Seeking for professional help and support is very important. In the world today, we have access to the internet, we have access to the NHS and other organizations and charities also. So you can find someone that can professionally help you. Um, family, friends are good to obviously help you and support you, but sometimes we need professional help and professional support. So find someone that could really help you. In my situation, when I was going through homelessness and a mental psychotic episode, I got the support from two people that helped me, which was Paul Dorrington and Karen Michigan. Paul Dorrington is a lead employment specialist. Dr. Karen Michigan is a clinical psychologist. So as I was going through my mental health difficulties, my challenges, my homelessness, my life was in despair, misery, suffering, and pain and adversity, I got the support I needed to help me get to the next stage of my life and overcome my setbacks. Sometimes the value in professional support and help could be the difference between overcoming a setback or staying in the same situation. We don't have all the answers to the problems we face, and we don't have all the solutions to overcome the setbacks that we go through. So sometimes in life, the best thing we can do is get the right support and help in what we're going through, what we're experiencing. Professional support is very important. Also, as well, I would recommend if someone of the listeners and the viewers do have like emotional difficulties or mental health difficulties, therapy, psychological therapy, counseling, CBT, DBT, EMDR, or any type of therapy or trauma-based therapy can help you to overcome that difficulties. Because sometimes the setbacks that we go through is in our mind, it's in our psychological thinking, and it's in our um, way how we perceive the world and perceive our lived experiences. Sometimes we need support psychologically and mentally and emotionally to overcome the difficulties. When we think about people that have lived experience of mental health or gone through crisis situation, majority of their fears and their problems in the situation is based on how they're thinking, how they view themselves, how they live their life, and also, the life experiences they've gone through and the setbacks they've had, of course. But, sometimes we need to change our thinking, like I said before, and change our perspective. If we change our thinking and change our perspective of what we've experienced, whether it's failures, suffering, pain, adversity, challenges, and difficulties, that will help us to overcome those difficulties and those challenges because changing your perspective changes your life. If you change your life, you will change your perspective. Change your perspective, you'll change your thinking. You change your thinking, you will change your actions. Then if you change your actions, you'll change your results. So each problem that we face in life, however difficult it is and however challenging it is, can be resolved by thinking differently about the setbacks and the challenges you've gone through and the failures you've gone through, and by also learning that in life, setbacks, failures, suffering, pain, and adversity is inevitable. We will go through things that we it's not going to be pleasant. It's not. It's going to be very difficult to go through. But changing our perspective, seeking for professional help and support, breaking down the problems in different stages, taking necessary actions and making an action plan to resolve it, and having a better understanding of the setbacks that we're going through and help us overcome any setback that we go through in our lives. And sometimes in lives, it's more important to overcome your setbacks than to stay in the same situation that you're in. I think, in life, another thing that's very important, which I haven't mentioned in the 5 ways of overcoming setbacks, is once you get out of that situation and get out of the setbacks that you face within your life, right? One of the most rewarding things and fulfilling things you can do is pay it forward and help other people give back and make a difference. And even as I share this audio in the podcast today for spiritually helping other people, the reason why I'm sharing my lived experiences in this specific audio is because I want the viewer to understand that, you can go through setbacks, but you can overcome them. And the setbacks doesn't define you as a human being. You're not defined on the life experience you've experienced or the challenges you've gone through or the setbacks and the failures you've gone through. But if you learn to take the necessary actions to overcome it, think about changing your perspective. Think about, okay, once I get out of the situation, how can I pay it forward? How can I help other people and give back to people's lives from what I've experienced? How can I use all the learning, the understanding, the knowledge and wisdom that I've gained from the setbacks that I've experienced to help other people that are going through similar setbacks or similar challenges or, you know, real serious life issues and problems. Remember, setbacks doesn't define you as a human being. In life, we're all on a journey, right? So we're moving into the future in space and time. But what you learn along the way, the setbacks that you go through are learning lessons. Each setback is teaching you a lesson. Each setback is teaching you something new. Each failure is teaching you something new. So learn from the 5 ways of overcoming setbacks, understanding your setbacks, which is very important. Change your perspective of things. Break down the problem into different points and different sections. Create an action plan of how you're going to overcome the action or overcome the setbacks you're facing, and seek professional help and support. Um, I will say as well, sometimes you may go through setbacks and challenges and life difficulties that, like, as a human being, we can't resolve. So sometimes we need to develop a spiritual practice and a spiritual understanding, right? And I've written a book already about this called the five spiritual practices, right? Which are meditation, mindfulness, prayer, walking, and journaling. Sometimes in life, when things get so difficult for us and when things get so challenging for us, the best thing we can do is focus on self care and resilience and persistence, right? Five spiritual practices connect you with Jesus Christ and God, connects you to Buddha also as well, if you believe in that faith or that religion, or Buddhism or Christianity or Hinduism or Jewishism or Muslim or whatever faith and religion you belong to. But sometimes in life, if we develop a spiritual practice and learn from our setbacks and our failures, that can help us to move into the future because, sometimes we have problems in life that have no answer to it, even if we do try to figure it out or try to write it down. Sometimes we need to take our suffering, our pains, and adversities and give it on to Jesus Christ and God and Buddha and let the spiritual side of our life overcome the setback, right? So having a faith is very important. Having hope is very important. Having control of your life is very important. Seeking for new opportunities is very important. And finding ways of how you can learn from your setbacks, learn from your struggles, and learn from your difficulties, and find simple ways of overcoming those difficulties and setbacks. Sometimes it's a spiritual setback you're going through. Sometimes it's a mental setback you're going through. Sometimes it's an emotional setback you're going through. Sometimes it's a physical setback you're going through. Sometimes it could be family, friends, relationships, children, money, career, business, volunteering. The list can go on with the setbacks you face. But if you develop a spiritual practice, seek for professional help, create an action plan of how you're going to resolve the issues and the problems, break down the problems, change your perspective, think a bit positively and optimistically, and understanding your setbacks, and you'll be able to overcome any setback you have. And like I said in the audio already before we finish, the reason why I was just sharing my life as an example in this audio is because, I have been through a lot of challenges in my life and a lot of like serious situations within my life, and sometimes, the only way to really express that is by sharing what you've learned. So that's the reason why I was sharing just some of the setbacks that I've been through, which is just mental health crisis and homelessness. But the lessons that I learned from it and some of the things that helped me to overcome that. So if I can overcome any of the challenges that I face, which I have in my life, then that means you listeners can overcome any setbacks that you will face. So have hope, find your faith, find your spirituality, um, do five spiritual practice and connect to Jesus Christ and God and Buddha, and then take learn from these five ways of overcoming setbacks to help you on your journey. Um, I hope this was useful. I hope this was beneficial, and I thank you for listening to the podcast as always. I'm trying my best to do it when I can. Obviously, I'm quite busy most of the time, but I hope the five ways of overcoming setbacks can be very beneficial for you. Thank you for listening. This evening, it's very late. It's actually in the morning. It's quite early in the morning me making this, but Thank you for listening. Hope it's benefited you in some way. Take care now. Have a good morning and obviously have a good rest of your day. Thank you. Bye now.